Hello, everybody. Welcome to Street Youth Ministry Drop-In. Today, first of all, it's Amplify Austin Day. Everybody remember to support Street Youth Ministry. As you amplify Austin, 30,000 people today are going to give $10 million to different charities, and we certainly hope we'll get some of it. But it's a really cool thing. Austin is weird, and at least 30,000 people today are going to give at least $10 million, hopefully breaking records for people caring for other causes and people besides themselves today. But we are talking about the Arch today, and the reason we're talking about the Arch is because the city manager is involved in creating a new contract for the Arch and new proposals for how the Arch is operated in the city of Austin. And we wanted to get feedback, and in particular, she wanted to get feedback. So we've been doing a little exercise here where we have people draw the current Arch and their idea of a future Arch. So here's one idea. On the left is, crazy, kind of not so easy to figure out how to get help thing. And on the other side is a very clear way to go all sorts of different places to get different kinds of help depending on what you're looking for. We are really lucky to have people writing out what's right and wrong with the Arch. Here's some more pictures of what needs to be going on. And now I'm going to show you Alex. She wants to say what is right and wrong about the Arch, or what they ought to do. Here you go, Alex. Have you ever been there?
Yes.
What would be better?
Basically just splitting up people based on needs, because it's like if you mix people that are trying to go through rehab with people who don't care about going through rehab, how are people who are trying to make their lives better supposed to heal and get the help that they need? So if they were to split up the different areas based on people's needs, then they could focus on, let's put our rehab resources towards these young teens that are dealing with addiction, or these young moms who are trying to make a life better for themselves. So they just need to stop thinking about all the homeless community as a whole.
Not right now. No, right now. I can't do it right now.
But think about it more as there's these individual, each person is different and each person deserves a chance. So make it easier for those people to vocalize, here's what I need, here's what I need to be able to make a better life for myself, basically.
Awesome. Love that idea.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to talk about how the Arch should change or what the Arch should become?
Sure, why not?
Here's Arlen.
Speak.
I have stayed at the Arch. I was a resident at the Arch for approximately 2.5 months. The difference between those who are there for handouts and those who are there to make themselves better needs to change. The people who are working are actually charged a portion of rent to stay there. To be more effective, I feel as if the people who are not working should be required to volunteer hours at the Arch or some other homeless outreach establishment in order to show their willingness to change the outcome of their own life. Drug offenders, sex offenders, things like that, in my opinion, y'all don't belong. They need to be strongly vetted. They need to show cause as to why they want to be there, as to why they need to be there. Drug addicts need to be required to attend rehab for a specific amount of time, point in case, at a different facility, somewhere not in downtown Austin, where it's easy to access drugs, easy to access these things. Now, the mass of people that spend their time outside of the Arch, that are constantly there, a good majority of them aren't actually homeless. They're there to sell drugs. They are a problem that needs to be addressed by APD and by the city. This needs to be done without prejudice. People need to be stopped from doing these things. They're ruining lives every day. So that's my opinion.
Awesome. That's some pretty tough love you're suggesting. Is that
absolutely
right?
I changed my life. I changed my life based upon my own morals, because I went into the Arch looking for help. And when I went to the Arch, I couldn't find what I needed.
Right.
So I moved on. I found a job with a company that hired me on as fast as possible. I found work. I did what I needed to do, because at the Arch, you're a number. That needs to change as well.
And for anybody joining us, the Arch is our centralized homeless support center in Austin. It's operated for about 12 years, I think. It's funded largely by a city contract. And we are not dissing on the Arch for no reason. We are discussing how the Arch is now and how we'd like to see it. We're calling it The Arch now and My Arch. And we're doing that because the city is going through a process of listening and trying to figure out what it should do better. The city is already in agreement that it needs to work better and could work better. So it's just a question of how to do that. Anybody else want to share an opinion of how the Arch should be better, could be better, a different kind of Arch, different way to spend the money?
Actual security system?
Okay, and this is Dalton on the 12 string over here giving us the background accompaniment, but you would suggest what?
I currently stay there, and I would actually recommend them putting the money in to actually have the security equipment they have running. Like they have an X-ray belt and all that. They have, and they look through your stuff every once in a while whenever somebody finally gets stabbed, or finally gets passed off some drugs. But by that point it's already too late.
So you're saying you do not feel safe there, and yet you are living there now.
I don't stay.
You are living there now.
I stay outside. I stay outside the Arch.
So you're staying outside near the Arch, but you are going inside to get services.
I go inside the Arch for food and stuff like that.
At the very least, assign some of APD to that area.
They used to.
I mean, I actually think that happened for a while. I don't know if it's still happening, but it happened for a while.
They just gave up.
I mean, our peace officers are driven by citizen complaints and concerns, and for a while, undoubtedly that was their concern, but maybe it got better, and that's not their concern now. I don't know.
It's also just the location is horrible. Like, of all the places to pick, y'all.
Yeah, well, and it was chosen 12 years ago when it was a neglected part of downtown, and almost no one sort of cared about it, and it seemed like it was a good place. Today, downtown is encroaching on it, and there's always conflict. So, but the city actually went through a process of saying where could it be, and not all the citizens, but there were enough citizenry that said not in my backyard to every possible opportunity to use property. So it's going to take all of us to decide something has to happen. Here's another example of I'm sorry, I just turned you on your side. Here's an example of some of the feedback from one of our clients. You can read it, but they're saying move drugs, move prostitutes, better housing, getting more peer coaching, less
She's a dork. That's why I love her.
I know.
less things that are bad.
So
Here's another piece of feedback.
I'm here in
Cold showers versus hot would be a desire. Less drugs around it, safer place, more support, more case management, and people are feeling like it's not accessible to them. They go there and they find out they can't have it. So the services that are there are oversubscribed or perhaps clogged up by people who have received them for too long. I don't know, but
So it sounds like the Arch should be made more of a main hub of referrals.
So it's good for resource.
And to say, this is where you need to go to do this. It's kind of like the welcome center for the homeless.
And that idea that it might be a triage center rather than a place to stay is floating around. Here's one picture that shows one kind of arch, and instead, again, there's a repeat idea that it be broken into several arches. Perhaps you could go get a certain kind of services at any one of those facilities, but in terms of staying there, it would be segregated by population. So maybe a sober population would be at one, maybe families would be at another, maybe people seeking employment at another, maybe people seeking permanent supported housing instead of employment would be at another, so that there was some segregation, even though you could walk in and get services or referrals from any of them. There's also a picture of the ever-popular pop-up at this point. The city has discovered that pop-ups are good. I actually think the Arch would be a good provider of the pop-up. They should have several vans, and they make mobile to support the services and information that they supply. This one also has the idea of an in-reach center. The Arch is a place where you can reach a lot of homeless people, so the hundreds of organizations that are willing to provide help should be able to place literature and reach into the Arch without having to reinvent everything from security and personnel and training. So these are just some ideas. So here's our little drop-in, in case you haven't seen it lately. Here's our clothing. We have our clothing closet where awesome people donate stuff. We're about to transition into prayer time. There's our sleeping area. Here's our rest den where people hang out. This is our table where people eat. This is our awesome food.
Yeah.
And donated by Keep Austin Fed and other organizations that help us provide awesome nutrition to our clients. We don't currently have medical services, dental services, psychiatric services. We sure wish we could find a partner who could help provide those for the people who need them. We have musical instruments here for people to play. They can get their mail here. They can get phone calls here, make phone calls. We have Wi-Fi. You see some people sitting around accessing computer because, to be honest with you, if you're homeless and you want services, everyone expects you to be able to go on the internet and do things. So anyway, I'm going to sign off from our live. Hey, Rosie, say hi to everybody. Rosie's inspecting the floor, making sure we haven't dropped anything juicy and good today.
No food on the floor.
No food on the floor is our rule, and Rosie takes care of that. She's awesome. So we're going to say goodbye. Everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Everybody say goodbye.